The reason why hip hop became so popular too, because there was a war taking place between adult and youth. The resistance I found was because this music was new and grown-ups didn't understand what these young people listening to. I remember talking to an adult, they would refer to it as, why you all play that junk? And I said, it's hard to make these people really understand. Music is now making some changes from one generation to the next. It's true I listened to Billie Holiday and Aretha Franklin and all those well-known names. But then came a guy called Sly Stone. And man, he was funky.
In the US and in the urban capitals, it was all over the place, whereas it was zero here. And the only how it came here is if someone like me brought it in. The radio didn't play it. You'd have to actually go to a house party or the DJ session. I remember the first Canadian rapper that went mainstream was Maestro Fresh Wes.
He was all over commercial radio back in 89 or 90 or 91. His shit was popping back then. Like I'd start seeing flyers for local jams, Ground Control and like Stylosaurus Rex. Then I started going to the Ottawa Black History Month Hip Hop Fest. Very early on, I became aware that it was happening here in Ottawa even. But before that, I was aware that it was happening in Toronto. And before that, I was aware it was happening in New York.
Yo, how y'all doing out there? You still live or what? Yeah.
My name is Patrick McCormack. I'm otherwise known as Jugga or the Juggernaut. I've been active in Ottawa's hip hop scene since the early 90s. As soon as I started hitting the jams, motivated by the music, I started getting introduced to the other elements of the culture. I knew that b-boying was a thing, but I had never seen people doing it. I knew that there was graffiti, but I started seeing the actual throws. Like you go down to Barrymore's back in those days, the alleyways right behind there, people had graffiti was up on the walls.
Well, hip-hop culture incorporates a lot of things that young people are going through right now. It has the MCing aspect, it has the artwork, the graffiti, the DJing, the dancing, the literature. It all encompasses hip-hop culture. So when people use the term rap, it's rap music, I like to use it as hip-hop culture because what we try to do is incorporate all aspects of the culture.
You know, for you to want to get involved in a new culture, there's got to be aspects about it that are exciting where you go, holy shit. Like, I feel that as a young person, I want to be involved in that. And hip hop had that in all those elements. Like I can see why it went from 0 to 60 in a couple of years. It had these different elements that all could stand alone, but were stronger together.
So when hip hop became a thing and the culture was created, Toronto was the Mecca in Canada. There was Montreal and to a far lesser extent, Ottawa.
And just to chronologue things a bit for people, because people sometimes get it a little ass backwards and they assume just because the MC thing became almighty powerful, you know what I mean, in terms of budgets and stuff, it doesn't mean they started out with all the power. If you actually timeline it, the first people that brought a hip-hop vibe to the table were the sound crews.
To the beat and the fucking sensation.
So sound crews were the DJs, but they often had the MCs too. Now the MCs maybe weren't rapping, but they were spitting simple rhymes describing what they saw. In Ottawa's case, you know, we had block parties in Confed Park in probably 83, 84. You know, in a lot of ways, a lot of the MCs and the rappers today, they actually owe a big gratitude to the early sound crews and the early B-boys that created so much of a vibe, of a passion. So I'm one of the co-founders of the Canadian Floor Masters, CFM. We're one of the oldest original B-boy crews in Canada. I've danced for lots of famous MCs and stuff, but probably the godfather is James Brown. So I got to open for James Brown with my crew. Danced for Ice-T, George Clinton, Grandmaster Flash, Public Enemy, Rakim out in Seattle.
You know, back in the 80s, it was not dissimilar to some things that are happening today. There was a number of clubs. Barrymore's was their best known club, and that was kind of a show bar.
Ottawa didn't really have the industry. A lot of people was passionate, so there was a lot of clubs in Ottawa, but they didn't want to necessarily bring shows. One of the major, I would say foundational major persons was Wally. He's the main promoter that bring most of the hip hop acts to Ottawa, because there's culture and then there's music business, right? And that was a gap that we didn't know how to bring together.
My name is King Wale Ade. I migrated from Nigeria to come here to Ottawa University in 1978. If you look back now, probably I've done over 200 artists, from all over the world that I brought to Ottawa. The hip-hop community wasn't organized at that time. The only avenue that was available to the youths at that time was whenever DJ Dan Parkrin do his jam and give people the mic, opportunity to be able to rap.
And I decided it was a good time to see how best I could get the kids involved in it. So I searched until a young man came, Lenny, you don't have anything for us any time of the week. We cannot go to the nightclub because we are not that age. So I said, well, what you want me to do? He said, well, think about something and do something somewhere for the youth. And I went to the NCC and talked to a couple of people until I was able to get the first arrangement to actually provide music at Confederation Park on a Sunday from 3 until 8 o'clock.
My name is Captain, MC, B-boy, moved here from Toronto, 1988, and quickly immersed myself in the hip hop scene. As far as those who was really household names in the late 80s, early 90s in Ottawa, you got about 5 groups, tops, right? 2 main groups stood out the most. It was Ground Control and Project Bass.
I got a lot of weird things behind the door. Do you ever see them? Nope, I just hear them. Why don't you take a peek? Are you crazy? I fear them.
Much respect to Canadian Floor Masters, the original ones. They were the one that's put us on. Once we hooked up with Buddha, he gave us an avenue and a path. He set us up with shows, Canada's Day, Parliament Hill, Major Hills Park. I would think that everybody in Project Bass would say he's partially responsible to some percentage of us being the men we are today.
Well, hopefully it'll never die. I don't think it will die. I think it improves and it changes and it goes into other direction. Like you let go a string full of balloons, they're still there in the air, but they all go different ways. I think the hip hop will sort of, it improves and goes on.
There's a lot of people that without them, we wouldn't be able to do a lot of this stuff now. They fought through it. I'm one of them. Been doing this for 26 years now. And when I say doing this, that's DJing. I wear many hats in the industry too. Back in the day, producing, to working at Universal Music Canada, to being a tour DJ, to being an engineer. I remember when I started off DJing in the city, it was 30 minutes of hip hop a night. That was it.
It was early on, and let's just call a spade a spade. Most of the clubs that are down here didn't let black people in or gave you a hard time to get in for this, and that. It being very urban now is a now thing. But back then, that's not what it was. We were fist pumping and everybody was fist pumping and it was all house music. And I was getting pissed off because we're getting kicked out of all these places and I saw what was happening. We're making a bunch of money and they're getting the money because they didn't have any business because whatever their plan was failed and that's why they need us to come in and help them out. And then when they make enough money to continue, they go, thank you for your service and keep it moving. And I kept feeling like that's not right.
And I pushed the envelope. I got into like these mainstream clubs and we went from 30 minutes a night to 45 minutes a night, to an hour a night, to an hour and a half a night, to a full-fledged mix of everything a night.
But we also have a place called Downtown Records. It was run by Frank Branca. He used to go to the US and bring the latest music all the time on a weekly basis.
My name is Frank Branca. I used to own Downtown Records back in the day. Back then, rock reigned supreme. So to get any form of dance music was a novelty, you know, it's like, oh wow. And all these DJs would come to my basement to collect their music. And the problem was, oh Frank, we're not getting enough hip hop. So we decided, well, maybe I need to travel to get some music. And we would drive right through all the way to Manhattan. We would get there, my God, sometimes 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning. We normally have anywhere from $10,000 to $12,000 cash in our pocket. And we would go hunting for music. When I started to bring that music into Ottawa, it really changed things. I made a decision to quit my job and to open a little record store.
Without people like him doing these shops, we would have always still had to go to Toronto or Montreal to get it. By the time we got there, we're getting the scraps.
That was across the street from my mom's hair salon. When I'd be there, I just, can I go across the street? And she's like, yeah. So I'd hang out there and just listen to records. And she's like, yo, come take this kid out. Bring him with you to a party. He needs to be somewhere. So they'd come pick me up and I'd go to parties early. Like, I'd be like 12, 13 in the party.
Just seeing this stuff, it inspired me to really move forward because I'm like, okay, you could do this coming out of Ottawa. You don't have to be in the States. And these guys are making moves and making names for themselves in a smaller area.
I met my best friend in high school. He was already a rapper, so he kind of brought me in and introduced me to the music. I think it was a surprise to everyone to see this group coming out of Ottawa because we didn't sound like a Canadian group. We crafted our music very well. Our production was, I would say, better than anyone at the time.
My name's Will Moreno and I go by Memo, part of the Half Size Giants rap group.
My name's Christopher Weens, aka Ironic, and just want to say rest in peace, Giant Jaw.
As far as the hip hop scene for us, there really wasn't one other than community center dances.
Whenever the reggae would come on at the Greenboro Community Center, Markland would steal the show. Yeah. You know, and whenever there was hip hop, me and Willie would jump in the circle and do the b-boy thing. One day I saw Markland on the bus and I approached him and I said, hey, can you sing? And he said, well, get off the bus and I'll show you. So I got off the bus by Ridgemont and he sang a verse for me. And I was about 12 years old, he was 14, and I said, you gotta meet my friend. My friend's got a ghetto blaster, and we're gonna record you.
When Markland came on board and we started doing the HSG BMW thing, our first song was called The Triple Scoop of BMW. And at the time, buying and selling music, it was hand to hand, right? So you either had to go buy it at a store or you were selling it yourself. There's a lot of stories of American artists who came up selling them out of the trunk of their cars, right?
To come from Alta Vista, grade 8, and pass through Billings Bridge and you see your EP is, and your cassette's there beside established artists, you know, it was inspiring. Yeah, it was huge, it was huge.
I go by the name of Jay Morris, AKA Your Favorite Light Skin, and I guess I started out as an MC at a very young age, but I kind of dabbled in the world of radio, event promotion. You know, I'm currently the music director at Cranium Arts Project, and I think I do it all. I'm like a jack of all trades when it comes to the music biz. I started at the age of 16. My first music video I shot in school. At the time, it was terrible music, but it was the start of getting into something and knowing that this is what I want to do. And I come from the era of like the CD hustle. Canada Day, we'd go downtown with 1,000 CDs and chop them out to the streets. And those times, there were other people doing the CDs. People like Belly, where his team was out chopping CDs. Deuce Deuce, these are the people that were sort of around at the time, really putting in and trying to get out of Ottawa or do something with this music stuff.
Because at that time, we thought we were the best rappers pretty much in Canada. So I heard a story that this guy named Belly, he's an amazing rapper. And I was like, there's no guy better than us. And I remember going to the studio once and I saw Belly rap for like 2 hours. I think at that moment, I didn't even want to rap anymore because I was like, man, this guy is just super talented. We can't even compete with what this guy is doing, you know?
What's going on, OT? 613, this is my motherfucking home. This is my motherfucking city. Don't need much introduction. The name Belly Boy, Rebellious. And we coming out with this album up here. Motherfucker, I'm out of control. This boy will push your shit back like Ann in the cold. Any G is a fan of the flow. It's only right I talk white. We in the land of the snow. I'm a hustler. I am worth more than your man.
When I was young, my brother Ryder brought home an album called Doggy Style by Snoop Dogg. That probably got me into it, and then I Got Ready to Die by Biggie Smalls. Prerequisite to Jay-Z, you know what I mean, is Biggie Smalls. So you listen to Big, kind of just by nature, you go to Jay-Z. I just love the guys that could play with the words in a different type of way. And that's really what caught me.
He's a wordsmith. It's not just being able to put words together, it's like how do you do it? What's the sound, like what's the flow, what's the pocket, you know what I mean? It wasn't just lyricism. We're not talking about like boom bap, backpack rap. Like he was able to write like that level of lyricism on some fly shit.
I was born with some big dreams. CP, some like the 6'9" Knicks team. I'm Walt Frazier, you Walt Disney. I'm known to make them bounce till they all dizzy. Burning along.
We didn't really know how it was gonna go. People started gravitating towards it right away, so we were like, okay, cool, let's push it and go further and further. And before we knew it, it was like a national situation. I think that belief for me and for us, the belief in each other definitely brought us to where we got to.
CP's in the building today, right?
Oh yeah, CP definitely in the building.
And since the ladies in the house.
They were like the first record label in Ottawa to really stand out and do things on an international level, right? I remember when Belly was coming out, they had people outside my high school handing out his mixtapes. To be able to take it from there, a local level, to where they are now is incredible. Even back then when they were just with CP, like Masari and Belly were doing things on an international level. All the XOs ran by cats from Ottawa. That's arguably one of the biggest record labels in the world. That's Ottawa.
To me, you know, Tony Sal, that's the papa right there, you know what I mean? Tony Sal is Big Papa.
Big shout out to Sal.
Big shout out.
Sal kind of just came and found me. He didn't even know what he was doing. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just like, yo, let's just team up and make it happen. And that was the first time we really got into the music thing. Still rocking together. He still manages me. He was my best man at my wedding. I think we put the company together here in 2003, so it's been 20 years since then.
Right here, I got my man Half Stripe.
You know what it is, deuce all day, nigga. They see the lions and the king be like Hakuna Matata. Diamonds in the chain, about as blue as the water. Grinding ain't a thing, man, we do this for dollars. Bada boom, bada bing, we the mobsters. Since Deuce team with the profit.
Yeah, I go by the name Harvey Stripes, an artist, entrepreneur, hustler first. I was born in Ottawa, single mother raised. From a young age, start hustling, figuring out what the streets had to offer. There was a motivation in those days, feeling like we're so dope we might get signed this summer. It wasn't really about being popping in the city, it was being popping worldwide.
Wardrobe is fresh linen, your whip just hubs, no chrome on wheel spinning. I've been dope since Nino's days. The fact is I stack chips like Pringles and Frito-Lays. Yes, sir. Deuce in the building, your boy Harvey Stripes.
Nelson down.
We out here, this is Woodville, Smallville City. It's
where we live, from the burbs to the J's, you know about it. In those times, I always feel like there was a glass ceiling above the city where people only felt like they could become so big. On a music level, it's like nobody would shoot music videos in those days. Shit, I want to shoot music videos. I didn't know any millionaires. Fuck it, I want to make millions. So nobody could see that vision in those days. I want to own 10 homes. I didn't know a nigga that owned one. At that point, I was in a group called Deuce Deuce. At that time, we was doing shows like crazy, getting co-signed from American artists, connected with CP, which is XO now, but in those days was CP, connected with Belly, Tony Sal. You know, we worked with those guys for a couple years. It was a very important time as far as studying the music and understanding the business aspects of it. Being amongst that record label and having an opportunity to be around video shoots and marketing agents and publicists and things of that nature that I might not have normally been around, I was able to soak up some game and soak up some energy that I was able to take along with me moving forward.
I always had love for the city, I had love for the people here. I always even check in when it comes to the artists and shit like that. But it's hard, man. It's hard to be here and not be targeted. First of all, I don't think the police or anyone had the infrastructure to deal with what we were doing at that time because it was brand new here. We never really had people come out of the city and have that type of following. We were targeted, you know, a lot. It was uncomfortable to go places. It was uncomfortable to leave the house, come to the house. It was uncomfortable to just live.
Y'all know where to catch me. The revolution is coming. Let me live on the radios right now. You know what happened? OT ain't even started playing my shit, and the rest of the country is banging that shit like religion. Holla at me, Belly Boy.
Ottawa's always been that way. There was always that hater vibe about Ottawa, you know? It was like nobody came together and tried to come up as a whole. As you know, like Toronto had their whole thing, right? Like Cardi, Chocolate, like they had the whole...
And Toronto has that Toronto pride that they passionately defend. And that's the one thing about Ottawa. Ottawa's a tough little fucking town. I think a lot more artists have to run with that.
People are just not proud to be from Ottawa. You could be born here, you live here, it's your city and all that, right? But when you go on the world stage, or if you get signed or you get a little buzz and you have a platform and you say I'm from Ottawa, you know that the other major cities and other major markets don't really look at Ottawa as a thing. So you don't beat your chest, you don't wear the Ottawa banner loud. It hurts the artist and it hurts the consumer.
Yes, there are advantages going to New York. Yes, there are advantages of going to Toronto and Montreal and all these different spots. And I get you got to take advantage of these different situations. But in a total, you can be anywhere in the world, man. You could be the best DJ, you could be the best artist, you could be whatever it may be. If the right person doesn't hear at the right time, it's nothing.
So I've known City Fidelia since I was visiting Ottawa. I didn't even live here. We was kicking it in Richie in the hood. There was an ill house party out there, and I didn't know Richie was bad. Like I didn't even know it was like a wild neighborhood or nothing like that. I just knew that's where all the kids was going for the party. All these dudes from the hood came through, knocked on the door, kicked in the door, and was like, "Yo, if you ain't from Richie, you getting stabbed." All the girls was like, "Yo, ain't from Richie, you gotta go in the basement, go in the basement." I called my pops, I'm like, "Yo." I'm like, "Dad, yo, I'm at this crazy ass party, yo. They said they're about to start wilding out. I need you to come get me." We like 16. He's like, "Where you at?" I'm like, "I don't know, some street, it's called Richie." He said, "Yo, what the fuck is you doing down there?" And then, yeah, he came and grabbed us. He got us out that spot quick. Ottawa, like, from when I came out, you had Deuce Deuce, you had Shylock, you had Nico, you had Hits and G from the South, C Squeezy. So by the time I came to Ottawa, just going to school, and I met Mez. Mez was like, "Yo, you kind of good. If you wanna rap, you could rap." And he put me through rap school.
He would come to my crib almost every day after he'd be doing work or school, whatever he had to do. And I had the 2 techniques, and I had a mixer, and I just put on instrumental, and I'd mix into the next instrumental, into the next instrumental, and I would just go. And it was him rap on it. The beat's gonna change, the flow's gonna change.
I didn't want to rap.
But you gotta rap.
I was hungry.
Yeah.
Drink some Coke, rap.
That's it, man. And just rap.
I got super nice though.
You need to represent and respect the people that came before you, that opened the doors and built the foundation that you're able to do what you're able to do today. I'm not saying all the new generation, but some of the new generation loses that because of, oh, well, let me Google. Well, in our days, there was no social media. There was not filming and stuff. If you want to see my old footage, pull out a VHS machine because it's on VHS tape. And sometimes people feel if they can't find it online, it didn't happen. No, it happened. You just weren't there for it.
When I shot my first video, I had to ask my big cousin Mez for a loan of like $5,000 just because you couldn't self-record as much. But now with technology, there's people in the city who are making music and blowing up within their crib. Even like Knight Lovell, his online presence was way bigger than his inner city presence because he was blowing up in Europe. And by the time Europe got to him, he was selling out shows here too.
We met at elementary school, and then we were always trying to dig on the internet for like the next big thing or this trend or that trend. The music thing kind of just came about. Like one day he's like, yo, listen to this. Passing me his earphone. I remember just being like, yo, is this you? And then the next day he texted me and he's like, bro, we gotta shoot a video for this. I'm like, what are we gonna shoot it on? I don't got a camera, he doesn't have a camera. We ended up shooting on his iPhone. At the time we were just like, okay, cool, whatever, you know, a little viral, 30, 40, 50K video, you know? And it just kept climbing until eventually reaching 1 million views.
And that was like the first song he was rapping on, right?
Yeah, first song he ever dropped.
And he got a plaque for it. Like, it's insane.
One other story that I've seen is Blues Fest, and he had that Pats. To just look in that crowd, you see friends, family, people you haven't seen in years, everyone coming together to just support one cause. Such a proud moment.
I mean, Knight Lovell was a big deal because he's from Ottawa and we had seen him rise up quickly and we really wanted to have him at the festival. So we reached out to him at that time and he did play obviously, but what was exciting was there was a big crowd for him. They came to see Knight Lovell.
Just that last part of the concert when he starts performing Contraband, like just the acapella, and then the crowd just finishes the rest of it. That was a special moment for sure, just to see like some kid fresh out of high school and he just did that. You know, I know it inspired us. I know it inspired a ton of other people to just be like, it's possible. Like we can stay in Ottawa and do it from here.
We pretty much knew Lovell from time. You know, he used to live across from Ramsey. So we knew him from around the neighborhood. We'll see him a lot. Shamar too, I grew up with that guy too. With Linda's son, literally my neighbor. His mom used to babysit me type shit. So it wasn't too hard to like connect us all together, you know?
Deep in the night, whoa, Brody piss out Cloudy, he got demons he can't show, yeah.
That's definitely a legendary moment for the city. I think everyone who was there knew it was gonna be big. There's big ups to Knight Lovell for coming out and doing the features with niggas. They're trying to do this music shit, you know?
Everything that came after that, like I wasn't expecting that to happen. I was just doing music for the love of the music and just doing it because I enjoyed it. So like when things took its course and things started happening, it's like it just happened. I'm enjoying it for the ride, but I'm using it to my advantage and trying to capitalize off any moment that happens.
Voices in my head. Heard that boy, he talk a lot. Don't tell what you done here. Baby, I'm going to
Everything's just authentic. It's nothing forced. Bali's been a guy that I looked at as a brother from time. I don't feel like I'm just getting in the studio with like a rapper or anything. It's just like I'm in there with my brother. It could be anything. We can be having a conversation and then we'll get on a beat. And then the last conversation we had would be the influence to the song that we're about to get into.
My story and where it's going and the things I've overcome, like I'm representing adversity and perseverance. I'm representing kids that had dreams and followed them and actually got to where they wanted to be and did it in a genuine way, you know.
I pray the fest on rain, and I be damned if you had the flush, I should've wait. We was young and dumb, but we shed umbrellas for the rain. And bro just got up out the case, now he back.
Linda's son, I feel like he does a good job of being unique with his sound, but also, you know, remaining to himself. It's all him. Cadences, rhythms, all that, it's all him.
I'm just gonna call the auto, yeah. Guess I'm switching gears. Look me in my eyes, tell me your biggest fear. And if he be just
trying to continue working on my craft, getting better, and even inspiring the younger people that might want to do this. Because someone inspired me, and it wasn't the biggest person. So if I can maybe inspire 5 kids, 10 kids, it makes a difference. I'd rather have people working on their art than being out here causing chaos, getting killed, going to jail, anything to make the difference, honestly.
I just want to leave a legacy where it's like, I show the way for folks that come from where I come from, like Haitian kids or like immigrant kids that come to this country that's from social housing, that has learning disorders, that can't just sit down and listen to a teacher talk all day. I just want to give that example that like, yo, if you really want to do something, you can do it. Just get off your ass and get to it, you know?
A lot of artists I find complain a lot. I'll use myself for example. I'm nowhere near where I want to be, but it's like I don't really see myself getting there by complaining. If you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, eventually it's just gonna fall in for you. You know, like people can't ignore work at the end of the day.
This system not set up for us to win. And please don't judge me for the times I had to say.
So the city is divided into east, west, south. The west would be if you're going from downtown and you hit the highway, everything that's going 417 west. Carling, Caldwell, it's Deborah. And just there's a stuff, you know, like you go down Richie Ramsey, Penny, Bayshore. Then the other side, if you go east, you start Saint Laurent. Down there's Overbrook, you have Blair, then Jeanne d'Arc, you keep going Orleans. If you go south, Saint Laurent Road to Ensemble, then you'll hit the Fairleigh, H Block, CC. You'll head towards Greenboro and South Keys. Keep going a little bit, you have Uplands, a bunch of neighborhoods, man.
My name is Maurice Moore. I'm a singer, songwriter, producer, and this is really where I feel like I discovered my passion for music. Just the culture of Ottawa, so much of it starts here. I think about everything from the slang to the music we're inspired by. There's just such a multicultural hub here where I feel like I gained so much inspiration.
Yo, who has aux right now? Hold on, let me take that shit. Let me take that shit right quick.
The West had the wave at a certain point of time. When I came south and we saw that, we were trying to make a name for ourselves. It was a collective effort. The fact that there were so many artists in the South, and that's when we mentioned people like HBR Fleazy, Dodo Banks, Rebel the After Party, Gigi Chevy, RP Lito, Lil Bro, you already know. Shout out Leah Cloud. She was one of the first female artists in the South that was doing it at that level. It showed other females that if she could do it, I could do it too.
I put money up for this chain. I was just up in a trap house, now I'm chilling on Biscayne. Check the stats, I made my name.
Growing up, everyone had a big goal coming from here. So it's not surprising that today
it's happening how it's happening. Guys like Maurice Moore, that guy was a special guy since back in the day. Jesse since back in the day. All of us coming from here, artist-wise even, you know? People are just getting to see it now, you know what I mean?
As time has gone on, Ottawa has grown with music. You can have one club doing an Afrobeat night. The next club is doing pure Latin music. The next club is doing all R&B. The next club is doing hip hop.
It's just a progression, the evolution. And Ottawa's always had great talent. It was just about the self-pride, like believing in yourself in the same way people in Toronto believe in themselves. They jumped off the porch a little earlier.
We just came back from a tour down the States, and everywhere we're going in the States, oh, hey, where you guys from? Canada. Oh, yeah, I've been to Toronto. You know there's other cities than Toronto in Canada, right? But that's just what people assume. We like Toronto. It's a great place, but we're from Ottawa. 4 hours up the highway. Smack dab between Toronto and Montreal. Come see us. If you go forward to some of the newer people, you got people like DJ T-Dot, good friend of mine too. And it's funny because even him, like I remember there was a time back in the day where he used to call me up for guest list to get into clubs. And now I'm calling him for guest list to get into clubs, you know what I mean? The man owns like 3 clubs in the city. He does a lot for the city and he helps out a lot of the new generation coming up.
What's going on? I'm DJ T-Dot. I've been in Ottawa pretty much my whole life. I am a serial entrepreneur. I'm a DJ. I run some nightclubs on the radio for the last 14 years. And I've been in the club network almost 20 years now.
People give T-Dot a hard time, and I don't know why, because he's an ill guy. He never sleeps, and he's one of the hardest working people I've ever seen from a DJ point of view.
You tell me no, I'm gonna show you how I could do it. Just watch. There's no roadblocks. We going through all of them, bulldozer. And that's kind of how I built everything. I don't want someone telling me what to do. That's why I became an entrepreneur. I want to work and put in that work. So if I come to work and I do 1,000%, I get 1,000%.
There's a lot of talent in the city. Shout out LJ and the engineers and all the studios that hold the city down, and City Fidelia and House of Ensemble and like Viva and all these places. These studios are incredibly important. You know, when you're in a studio, you're limited to whatever time you have booked. And sometimes it's a matter of like resources.
Studios can be cost prohibitive, especially if you're like in the middle of figuring out your style and stuff. You need a lot of time to experiment and learn who you are, you know, what you sound like.
I lost my bro, no, I can't get him back. All this pain up in my chest feel like a heart attack. Why you think I'm doing rap? I need 100 racks. I trade everything I can to get my brothers back. I can give a fuck what niggas say.
My name's LJ. I'm an audio engineer. I'm a rapper. I'm a producer. I'm like a music man. I do everything. To the point that I own a recording studio in Ottawa. It's one of the best recording studios in Ottawa, especially for hip hop music. We work with like the majority of the artists in the city. The original intention when we opened up the studio was that we were opening up the doors to the city like a Shaolin dojo house or something like that. And then eventually we were gonna close it. Because at first it was just for us. It was just for me, my brother, the homies. But it came to a certain point that we had been working with so many artists that it would have been irresponsible to close the doors. So we kept them open to the point that now we serve over like 1,500 different clients, different artists in the city.
My name is Quest. I'm a music producer, content creator, and I just love what I do. I live what I do, and I love to inspire other people to do the same thing as me. I started my journey as Quest as a beat maker. We're talking late 90s. I started doing beats on the MPC. I was the only one that never wanted to leave, even though people were telling me, why are you staying here? There's no market, there's no platform, there's no labels here, there's nothing. And yes, there was nothing. But at the same time, I saw the bigger picture. For me, it was just a chance to build from nothing too, and be part of history.
I mean, best believe, even while working up towards building this spot, I kept thinking, man, if I build this in Toronto, if I build in Atlanta, building LA, we gonna be up. We could have been up, like charging way more. But like I said, it wasn't for the money for me. Like I always seen there was a massive vacancy as far as good sound. I felt like I took on the responsibility of building that spot, training some engineers and creating the next generation of people that's gonna help shape the sound. And I feel like without us being as heavy-handed as we were and still are, there wouldn't have sprouted so many other studios in the city. They wouldn't have seen the feasibility of it. And furthermore, we can't just carry the whole thing ourselves neither. You know what I mean? We need the other guys.
Hi, my name is Ben Telford. I'm a filmmaker and music video director here in Ottawa. Now, I'm still learning and growing and trying to make a name for myself within the industry, but in terms of where I'm at right now, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Ottawa's hip-hop scene. You know, for years, they've supported me, trusted my vision, and given me endless opportunities to practice my craft. So for that, I'm very grateful. Honestly, it's just been a lot of fun seeing this community grow. And visuals are such an important part of music these days. Obviously, it allows the consumer to get to know the artist, to see them, to see what they're about. And up until 10 years ago, music videos weren't easily accessible. That's not just an Ottawa thing, that was across the board. But nowadays, virtually anyone can put together a music video, and that makes things so much more exciting. But in my opinion, if you want to know about the birth of hip-hop music videos within Ottawa, you have to talk to Banzo. Although he might not have been the first to do it, I think it's fair to say that he was the one who laid the foundation.
When we were focusing on the present, I didn't really notice that it would be that big. But it's like once I really started seeing the artists that I was working with, they were really getting views and just doing a good thing for the city as a whole, right? When it really started to go crazy, I would probably say like the Lito call-in. I remember just looking at the numbers and stuff. I look one day, it's like 1,000 first day, but it's like in these times, like this was some big numbers for an artist coming from Ottawa, right? And then the next week I'd see 5,000, 10,000. It kind of gave me like a reassurance that it's like, man, if I keep pushing at this, everybody as a whole can like really get out there and make a name for Ottawa as itself, right?
I know Lito, like, he loved music. He saw it as a way of getting out of whatever situation we were in, you know, try to make it better places. And he had the talent for it too, you know?
He was just one of those guys that could do everything. He was versatile. Bro was just huge, man. Too big, going too fast. Sadly, he passed, but we're still here, trying to hold down the fort as much as we can.
I feel like the years 2018 and 2019, it was like the first time after a while that people were really putting out music. Like rapping seemed kind of fresh to the city, you know? From the South, you had Lito and his crew. They were making noise, being consistent. They were doing their thing. You had the West, FTG and them, you know, they were doing their thing.
At first, they were just coming to the studio like almost like everybody else was coming to the studio, but started developing a certain seriousness about them. I think they saw the results and they wanted to yield even better results.
It's crazy because at first it wasn't like really FTG. It was just niggas in the neighborhood, you know. We're all close and everything. We all knew each other from time. As soon as we dropped Meant to Be, we didn't think it was gonna tweak like that. And then that's when we started seeing like Montreal fans, Toronto fans, Calgary fans. That's when we started seeing everyone from around Canada, you know? And then we dropped Rainy Days. And that one's the one that took us to the moon, I swear.
Rainy Days was a special one. You know, that was my first time working with FTG, and I remember driving home after the shoot and having a feeling that it was going to be a special video. You know, before I chopped up the footage, before it released, before it became the anthem that it is today, it already felt special.
From then on, we just like, everybody graduated high school. We're like, yo, niggas started doing their own shit. Some niggas hopped off the Porsche. Some niggas were still hooping. Everybody just divided their own little group. But everyone was still tight and shit. Niggas started going to jail, niggas started getting in trouble. It just put a little pause on it at first. And then the shit happened with Metro. I was in jail when that shit happened, you know? Because I had a meeting with my lawyer and she came through to come check with me. And then right before it started, she like, yo, my condolences to your cousin, he was shot, da da da. I'm like, well, I don't know what the fuck you talking about. She like, something happened yesterday on the news. 3 injured, 1 dead. And then I'm like, easy, you know? So the whole time we were having our meeting, I was just on my mind, I was just thinking about it, you know? I'm like, is it true? Is it true? And then I called my mom, she's like, I was talking to her, I'm like, yo, I heard what happened. I was like, everybody okay? She's like, yeah, you know?
I go by Swisha T. I'm founder of Left Lane Music. I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a CEO, and first and foremost, I'm a recording artist. Before music, I was just more of an athlete, and then I got involved with the streets. I was selling drugs and doing whatever just to get by. Music became, I guess, a form of therapy for me. I had my struggles growing up like anybody else. When I started selling drugs and shit, I think that's kind of what led me to the hip hop culture, as weird as that sounds, because that's what we were surrounded by, right? Like, I didn't have a father, so music is really what raised me. I dropped my first mixtape, The Switch Up. I swear, man, people are just driving by, bumping my shit, and I'm like 19 years old. That gave me the confidence I needed to be like, okay, I could do this. I put out a mixtape, people are rocking with it, I'm getting a lot of good feedback locally, and I had one foot in the streets and I had one foot in the music industry. I went to the house where my friend was selling out of. And at this point, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, what am I even doing here? Why am I still involved in this? I got so much opportunity with this music. One day we're just chilling and some like random dudes show up and you know, they tried to rob us. One thing led to another. One of them ended up dying. You know, we had to act in self-defense. And I just, you know, I never want to put my family through that ever again. I think that's the main thing, because they're the ones that suffer. Even when I get through it, even when, you know, I survive, I'm like, mama, like, everything's okay. Everything's all right, like, I'm good. But in the back of their minds, they're always worried, right? So that's why I had to step away from that life and, you know, really make a change.
A lot of guys, unfortunately, end up having one foot in the streets, at least one foot, if not two. They put more attention, energy, and take more risks when it comes to the street life, and they never get to see what else life had to offer for them.
You know, you can never do it with one foot here, one foot there. I had to sacrifice quick money to be like, I'm searching and looking for something bigger. And that's literally what I did. I had to take that other foot out. One foot in, one foot out doesn't work. You know, you gotta have both feet, both hands, eyes and ears locked in. So that's what I had to do.
The real origins of hip hop, when African Bambaataa got a hold of it and said, listen, instead of you fighting, billy batting each other or even stabbing each other or whatever, you b-boys over there, you come over here, you battle it out, and whoever wins is squashed. It sounds a little bit more novelty, but that was the origins of it, to bring crews together and to battle the supremacy over your words. And the problems you have is squashed now. You're the winner until next year or whatever, right? But of course, that concept fizzled out, especially when corporations come into play and there's money to be made now.
There's a fine line between, is the bravado that you're bringing to the table also going to become confused and become something more narcissistic? Because there's a lot of egos in hip hop. And if you got a lot of egos, and in the early days we wanted community, those are kind of oppositional concepts. It's all about me, or is it about community? We're creating something different. Hip hop was highly political in the early days. There's so much to be political about. The hood still exists. Pain that created this culture still exists.
I think we need shit like this, like conversations, so the youth can watch it and they can know that it's not always just so literal. It's more than that, you feel me? If you're really rapping about the street life, I think you gotta give all sides of it. Yeah, you know, I was living like that, but it comes with depression. You're gonna get locked up, your friends are gonna die, this and that's gonna happen. So I guess it depends on the artist, but it's art. If art is always too sweet and too pretty, it's not real. Art's an imitation of, or a representation of real life. We're just speaking what we seen or what we heard.
I go by the name of Freddie Prince. I'm an artist, I'm a songwriter. I didn't go to therapy, so that was my therapy. When people are like, yo, I resonate with this, or this is super dope, it was reassurance that this mode of therapy isn't just helpful for me, but it's helpful for other people, you know? I had friends that were really smart academically. I had friends that were really, really smart socially and streetwise, whatnot. I was more like a sponge, just try to take it all in and not necessarily let it influence me, but help let it mold who I am and guide me to who I want to be as a person.
You get to thinking to yourself, you know, you get to talking to yourself, you get to realizing a lot of stuff that's been going on in your life with your friends, your family. Mental health is actually crazy. I'm not gonna lie, there's a lot of people that I know that they're going through mental health stuff, but they don't know that they're going through mental health stuff. And the people around them are going through the same shit, so they think it's normal, you know? And when you're holding all that shit in, that's when all the emotions start going crazy. You start doing drugs, start smoking, start doing all that shit. Clouding your judgment, clouding your vision, you know? It just made me think about, you know, what am I really doing? I have this thing going for me. Am I gonna keep getting in trouble? Or am I just gonna focus on my music type shit? I said, fuck it, let me focus on some music, let me see what I can do with this shit, you know? Just wanna be the guy to make the city recognized. Metro is that guy. So what we gotta do for Metro, for Broski, we just gotta keep pushing, keep his vision alive, you know?
I love my bros, swear they got, I see my whole car. I ain't never looking up to know my gold guys.
Definitely when I think legacy, I think Metro right away. That's the first thing that comes to my head. He probably gave me the most inspiration when it comes to this music shit. R.I.P., you know what I'm saying?
Cause the demons always live while the good die. In the song we got motherfucking hard ties. Ever since a young and I knew that I'd be a star. Niggas, they be hating, they don't know about them stars.
I met Two-Time about 3 years ago through a mutual friend. He had released Hood Cry and a few other records. So with some artists, it's inevitable. He has a look and a sound and he's genuine. That's another important thing. If an artist is genuine, it shines through in their music.
Coming from Richie to a place like this, you gotta be a little insane, to be honest. Ottawa's not that big of a music scene, you know what I'm saying? We had to make that happen ourselves, so you gotta ignore all the obstacles, almost become blind to it.
Looking down, watching over us, and I hope you know that we still coming up. I love my bros, swear they got, I see my whole car.
I never got to meet Metro, but I went to a high school one time to talk to students, and they put me on this music. And when I heard Rainy Days, I remember just having like goosebumps. The first thing that went in my mind was, I want to create a space where I could see talent like that. And instead of being on the street or whatever, like, you know, you could come here and do your thing. My mind started going into even more, how do I build a community? How do I build infrastructure so people don't have to leave the city?
Yo, it feel like they took my heart from me, brother. They should go and name a park for my brother. Outside, in the heart of the gutter, there was no one ever slicker, no one smoother than butter. That's why I need coverage, carry stories from above us. Oh my Lord. So how does it feel to be the GOAT, City Fidelia? This dude's one of the hardest working dudes I know for sure. Like, he loses sleep over this, like, skip meals for this, you know what I mean? Like, real shit.
I've known both of them for so long now, probably 12, 13 years. They've been around the city for so long, and they've actually like gone through the stages of being an artist who is learning how they want to sound or what they want to do, to developing their sound, developing their look, their style, their fan base. So having artists like City and Bobby here, it means a lot to have them so that people can see them here as they go on to the bigger things.
My name is City Fidelia. I grew up in the Chinatown area in Ottawa. I started making music at a young age because in my neighborhood, a lot of us would be like breakdancing and doing freestyle battles, things of that nature. My crib in the area was like the community center, so like I learned the concept of community at a young age. Those experiences what makes me what I am now, a rapper and a community builder, I guess.
That's pretty much what my life has been. Like 2 years ago, my big brother passed away, and like, you know what? Like I'm not even in a mental place to talk to people, whatever, you know? Basically, this record is just like, I've moved forward from it. I'm still hurting, but like, I'm entering a new chapter. Acceptance, and like this podcast.
Community is in his blood. He's always been community, even from the jump. It comes from his mom. His house has always been an open house for anyone that needed anything. His mother always took care of anybody. And so that's just carried on to who he is as an individual.
I feel so blessed to have been able to find like even a few select people who feel the same way that I do, where it's kind of like everybody eats. We're at the same table, everybody's eating, you know? Like, that's why I cherish my small circle, my team of people, because I do feel like a lot of people kind of lack like a heart in the game, like morals, values. I care about people, and I feel like a lot of people don't care. And they don't. It's just like...
I can't tell you the amount of people that told me when I first kicked up a city that I should just not do it. Like, he's just another rapper. But he had this work ethic and this understanding that was crazy to me.
That's how you have a motherfucking record.
He's the person most ready to uplift the Ottawa community, I think. I mean, he's really in the thick of it, but also taking a step back and kind of moving pieces from a higher levels. My name is Estros. I was raised in a town outside of a major city called Bristol. Yeah, I came to Ottawa about 3 years ago. I never thought I'd graduate high school, to be honest. At 16 in the UK, you kind of leave school. I mean, I already know what I was going to do. This was kind of my only opportunity to take the academic route, so I went here.
Easy, 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 easy. I know that it's not easy for you.
City actually plays quite a crucial role in it. I'm not too sure if he knows that. I attended the same high school that City went to, and I happened to be in an English class taught by a teacher called Miss Caldwell, who just so happened to have taught City back in the day. I guess she was fond of my writing, so I did rap, etc. And got City on a Zoom call, one lecture. Through that lecture, it kind of switched me on to what was going on in the city.
Late night prowling. I drag my knuckles on the bridge, see my silver ring illuminate. The shimmer through a crack, carving scratch. I don't know who's to blame, but me when shit don't work out, often tend to ruminate.
And also switched me on to Bobby. You get me? It connected me to Bobby through linking up with him on Instagram. I just remember saying to myself, if there's anyone who I'm going to get in with in the scene, who's outside working on cool projects I'd like to be a part of, it's Bobby. It's been big bro since then, you get me? He does a lot for me. Plans me shows, studio time. Just puts in good word of mouth for me throughout the city. It's like a mentor figure, you get me? Yeah, shout out to Bobby. I mean, that's really family. He's done so much for me. Shout out to City too, because obviously without City and that lecture, I may never have met Bobby or been put onto the scene.
Striking down on new intention, dancing with concluded fate.
All right, let's do it. Shouts to Ben Telly, man. We on some new shit. Ben always catches me in the most random spots.
Thinking about myself, where I wanna be with you, ducked off with 100 G's, mango trees and some property. I'm just passing go, like Monopoly. Weed top drinks, ain't no topping me. Pause.
Oh, we just started like really kicking it like a month ago. I just happened to come up for my session, and he was just finishing his, and I told him, post up. And then this guy started talking, let's go track for track, and since then, now we're like 4 sessions deep. Ottawa has a crazy community. And if you asked me this question like 5 years ago, I would not give you the same answer. It's definitely like a recent thing, and I appreciate all these young cats doing what they do. Like the guys who run Merrifield, the Knife Circus guys, the Dolo guys, and this is really within the past 1.5 years, but Ottawa's really becoming like a community. Before it was just a hip hop space.
I'm Mizey. I'm the founder of Dolos. This is our spot that we used to have. This is kind of where it all started. Met Ice through some old investors in the company. He started shooting for us a lot, which has been kind of taking it over ever since. People are really invested into the people that represent the brand, the team and community that we put together. So like even all the people around us here, like everybody has their own Dolos here, everybody's doing their own thing, but we all come together and make it work. And that's what the Merrifield's about, is about bringing people together and then obviously showcasing the talent and giving a stage for people to portray their art. Because I feel like not a lot of people are really tapped in with the culture and what people are actually doing in Ottawa. It's more about business and stuff, but it's never really been about that. Like our first Merrifield was a free show.
I go by Nicky Ghost. I'm a DJ, producer, curator. I think the younger generation has found a way to tap into the high schoolers and the younger crowds and have really gained support. These guys really are stars to some of these people. Like, I've walked around with people that are like way younger than me and they get noticed in public and it's inspiring, honestly.
Yeah, I'm not trying to leave anybody out, but Rebel, G Faisal, Leah, Izzy, music artists help us put on the fashion too, and they helped us with the Merrifields. It's all a cycle, everybody helping each other. And looking at the bigger picture of it too. If Ottawa's on, we're all winning. But if you're just trying to do something for yourself or for money, that's a one-way street. It's hard to go any further.
My name's Javi. I'm creative. Photography was the first thing I got into back in like grade 8. That's developed into videography and design and aspirations for other things. The way we pursue things is very different from other businesses. We don't focus on the finances, especially at first. We're delaying that success in that sense, but in the result of that, we got to focus on the art and all the hands-on elements that actually do matter. For example, just music and clothes, I think they're so intertwined, and I used to be a break dancer, and hip-hop was always a big part of my life, and that helped me escape certain things that I was going through or what I was seeing when I was younger. A lot of talent here in the city, and it's beautiful to see because we need those people who kind of take the torch and just keep pushing it, keep passing it.
Tonight is Cranium Conference Showcase, and I'm excited to see how it all goes down, especially because I'm pretty sure this is the first like hip-hop type show that's happening at the NAC, and so I'm very glad to be a part of it.
So we got the conference and showcase, basically panels, discussions on sync, grant writing. If you want to learn about music production, like everything is happening here. And then we got a showcase with 7 artists performing. So many great artists about to hit the stage, and we have delegates that we've invited from all over the world to be here and just take in our artists from our scene with hopes that they get booked and brought somewhere else.
She flows through genres, paving her melodic voice with R&B, hip-hop, alternatives, indie, and Afro beats. Without further ado, please help me greet and hype up the incredible Easy Rose!
We may not have the most poppin' artists here. We may not have artists that have popped that really rep the city. We may not have big stadium tours or big culture, whatever, but there's a lot of shit going on considering how small of a field we get to play in. I got racks in them Tom jeans, packs full of palm trees, shorty throw it back like she knocked me. I feel like ever since COVID specifically, instead of growing out, we've been growing up. And I think that's what we should be doing, is continuing to build layer upon layer upon layer. There's new artists, different brands, different clothing, different events, different subcultures, and all those things are what make something whole. It's not just one artist making it out, because we've seen artists make it out of here before. And although they're highly renowned, it's different because they made it out, but they're not here. But when Knight Lovell comes home and he comes to the function, people know what's up, and it makes the function feel like home.
It's easy to focus on what Ottawa's missing and how the city limits us. It's also easy to focus on the opportunities that exist beyond our city limits. But You know, we have more than enough talent. It's just a matter of coming together and putting it on display.
The city gave me the opportunity to sit in the seat that I'm in now. I wouldn't be sitting working in the Toronto scene if I didn't cut my teeth and grow in the Ottawa scene. Ottawa was the first community that accepted me. So it's like, that's why I'm hard with it, because I'm just like, people are just too soft, or people just don't want it bad enough. How far and how big do you want to go, and how much are you willing to sacrifice to make it past that point?
And I think it's happening with the people that are coming from outside the city. Let's take a good example, Melanie from Omike. She's not even from here. And she's come here, took Omike and changed it upside down. And she created an amazing gala that I've never seen here in the city before that showcases local music.
My name is Melanie Brulé. I'm the Executive Director at the Ottawa Music Industry Coalition. I was incredibly impressed by the music scene in Ottawa when I moved here. And the thing that struck me the most about Ottawa is how diverse of genres there are and how strong the communities are. Like the hip hop community and R&B community in particular welcomed me with open arms. And noticed that they were coming out in droves to support each other. So I think what I got out of Ottawa from the get-go was a realization that there's so much more than is on the mainstream, and that's actually where the richness lives.
Your music has the power to unite people here in Ottawa and beyond. It has the power to transcend language barriers, cultural barriers, all barriers. It has the ability to speak to the core of our humanity, and it inspires change. And tonight, on behalf of all the people of Ottawa, I salute you, I celebrate you, I honor you for the work that you do, the incredible artists and professionals who create music in our city.
I've been in rooms where producers are like, I have to leave the city because no one's buying me a beat in Ottawa for $400, $500 exclusive. If I can do that 3-4 times a week in Toronto, I'm blessed. People need to start investing. You can make 100 bands a year being a videographer in this music scene, not just giving everybody a discount.
I would like to see the top tier artists be in the same room more often. And it doesn't mean you have to put a song out together. Sometimes when you're around other top tier people, you challenge each other to make better music. And once people get to that level, they kind of isolate themselves, you know what I mean? Which is understandable, because I get it. Once you're high, everyone wants something from you, so you kind of want to, I'm good, But at least with the people that, are a little bit in front of you or a little bit behind you, it's a good idea for a lot of us to put our brains together to uplift the culture so we can bring money here. The goal is that we could make this city a place, if you love the art, you can live off it.
Romeo right here to my left got next, man. Just know that.
Yo, who want war? I'm in the airport screaming Allah ooh Akbar. On the 401 swerving on 2 cop cars. And if I crash, y'all lucky if I lose my bars. I need 2 front yards with 2 guard dogs. And my boo on call. Yeah, my suit dropped off.
This guy Ben Telford got me fake cooking, bro. You guys, I'm still out here fake cooking. Fucking guy. Right now we're at Drip House, the original host of Tacos Over Sex events. Started in 2020, now we're 2023. Bigger, more popular than ever. Just like music, food gets shared between people, and it's, at the end of the day, it's still expression and it's still creativity. It's like an extension of my music brand, but just within the culinary realm. Tonight we had Nikki, Ghost, Yashavelli, Chank's Daddy's probably gonna pop through, City Fidelia, Jeff, everybody from the House of Ensemble, probably a couple other artists. That's another thing too. A lot of people that showed love with the music came and bought tacos. It's the same people. We're all kind of doing our own thing, which is fine. But it's not that we don't have an identity, it's that it's not uniformly bold enough for someone outside of Ottawa to identify.
At the end of the day, everyone says that they have to leave Ottawa to make it, but this is really home. This is where I want shit to pop. The foundation is here. We literally can make it anything at this point.
I don't have to go in another city and pretend like I'm from there. I'm not gonna move to New York and be like, oh yeah, I'm from New York. Like, no, I'm from Ottawa. So I wanna put on for my city while being here. It's important. I go by Lonely Boy. I'm born and raised in Orleans, Ottawa, which is like East End, very French. I make R&B music. That's like my first love in general. Well, obviously I want to be pragmatic and very business oriented when it comes to my career advancement, but anyone from any city that comes up, they have to show their city love. It's not like I'm being denied in my city, I'm actually being shown love. But there's almost like a blockage, like a spotlight blockage. You always talk about Toronto, you always talk about Montreal. Some of the most talented people who are there in Toronto, Montreal are from here, you understand? So it's important for me to dispel that, because it's like, why do I have to go and pretend? Every time I go and I perform in these cities, that's usually that's usually like the, oh damn, I didn't know you from Ottawa, like, shit, you got talent like that? Like, yeah, bro, from Ottawa, it's just the city. We got a lot of it though, you know?
4 in the morning, will you take me back?
I want to do it for my city. Like I want to do it for my hometown, be globally known, universally known. And I ain't had to go to no big city or change my market or change my foundation. I want my foundation to be from where I'm from type shit. It's a unity thing. It's more of a togetherness, you know what I'm saying? Me and Gigi, every show we do, we come out together. Last year, Kumo, Leah Cloud, she had me come out with Linderson, Izzy Rose, G Faisal and shit, so.
I've seen the climb, and I've seen these guys being a big part in the new future, you know? Leah being a leader. That was our first Blues Fest performance, and I think she had like 6 people come up with her.
So my name is Leah Cloud. You can also call me Kumo. I did volunteer hours for school back in the days, and I used to just go to the shows. So being able to perform was like a big full circle moment. And to me, what I want to like leave behind really is actually my voice. Just like a positive message for the ones coming after me. And also the older people too, because you can inspire anybody, it doesn't matter your age. So just really being like somebody people could actually look at and be like, okay, she motivated me to actually be able to do X, Y, Z.
I recently signed a deal. I like to think we recently signed a deal, Ottawa too, because I really want to put on for Ottawa. Crazy thing to do coming from where we come from. And this type of thing is impossible. It's fiction, it's fairy tale, it's not real. I signed with my homie, Polo. Yeah, I got hit by Polo like almost 2 years ago now, to be honest. He was always tapped in with me. And then he really put the wheels in motion like last year. He told me fly out here, brought me out here, showed me bare love. Don't ever think of anything as impossible, because this right here was impossible at one point. Now we're here. I hope I'm a motivation for a lot of upcoming rappers that are coming out of Ottawa. I want to let them know they can do it too. You could do it too. Everyone could do it. Anyone could do it. You just got to set your mind to it and surround yourself by the right people.
Please help me greet and hype up the incredible Easy Rose!
I try to like just lose myself in the music. I feel like that's when I have the best performances, is kind of when I forget where I am or that I'm on stage and stuff.
Waking up, it's Sunday. One time and then you wake up and it is Sunday. Been away for days and know it's gone away. I don't think about for days and it feels okay.
She doesn't lack experience. That's one aspect of things. You could tell she's been through things.
and she has her own angles to show through that. But also it's the vocals. She's got the pipes, you know, and it's undeniable when you hear the song, you know. It's a very strong voice, and I think everybody can really feel it when they hear it.
Love and all, and I've been dreaming all about it, all of all the daytime times. Don't need to fight, we never own that time. I've been dreaming about it, love. I just want you to stay in my dreams.
I think the city to me means growing, and it gives me a lot of hope. So I cherish it. I definitely do.
Just stay in my head so sweet, darling. I've been loving you all weekend. I've been waiting all this fucking time, love.
If we don't steward our culture, if we don't help influence how it gets perceived or how it impacts the generations coming up, then people are going to exploit it for its monetary value solely. So I believe that the next generations can come up and get paid while we can still nurture the actual culture and protect something that belongs to us. And when I say us, I just mean the people who have created it, who came up in it, who value it.
I think Ottawa's the best city in the world, and that's just what it is to me. That's the best city in the world. Like me, I ride for my city hard, so to me it's like, yo, I'm so happy with what the scene is now. Everyone that drops is talented and makes good songs. If you have that feeling, you have that confidence in something you want to do, just go for it. Like my story is, I started at 13 and I gave up because I was like, yo, this is too hard. Like I don't see myself doing it. But then after that, I just had that feeling coming back, you know? So my advice would just be true to yourself, be confident, just go for it.
Growing up, a lot of people go through it too, right? I definitely had doubts, was wondering where I would amount to in life, and I didn't really know if I'd accomplish everything I wanted to accomplish or where I'd be at financially. And I think I would just tell them like, bro, like, wait to see what your future has in store for you, man. Like, you're gonna do all those things and like, life's gonna be so blessed.
Solid 6 months of my life, I was homeless, just figuring my shit out. And I made tunes in that time, and I'll go back to those tunes and it reminds me of who I am. I'll make tunes now and I'll compare them and I'll be like, look how far I've come.
I think it was like tunnel vision, just like a blind faith in something. And you know, when you finally look up, you're like, okay, damn, I might have actually did something. That's really what it was for me. I had my head down running so long, I didn't even realize I was accomplishing things. And for me, it's like if I can show that little kid that comes from some other country and is over here and is scared because he can't speak the language. He's worried because he doesn't know how to approach people or even how society works. He doesn't know the food. He's trying to adjust to this life. If that kid can catch this much inspiration from anything I've done, I'm happy, man, I'm good.
Like you can do this from your bedroom. Literally to this day, my biggest song is one that I made in my mom's basement when I was like 18. I feel like when I first started making music, it was so about feeling like I needed to prove something to other people, to try to show like I'm worthy of success, I'm worthy of you being a fan of. But throughout that process, I realized and remembered, you know, why I started this in the first place. And I want to change people's lives with the music.
Ottawa's hip-hop culture has become a movement. These artists, these voices, they're not just making music, they're using hip-hop as a bridge to connect us all. But this is just the beginning. There are more stories to tell, more voices to amplify. So I challenge the viewer to go out and support. You know, listen to the music, attend the shows, and whether or not you're from the city, come be a part of history.
Have mercy. One time, at the offside giants, you know,
Me say, yo, I'm the G to the high, the A-N-T. So tell them, how the O and feel off with we. And we are, boy, I grow, we don't fear nobody. If I war them once, I think me ready.
Boy, I jealous ones who still wanna hate. But my, when you see my face, cruise shall come in, cruise shall fade. But my clique never failed to get it made. Boy, I jealous ones who still wanna hate. Mad cause I get it done and stay paid. Cruise shall come in, cruise shall fade. But HSG never failed to get it made.
Cuando entro on the instrumental, it doesn't matter if it's fast or lento. So why you telling cuentos? Yo cuento el dinero. Original Spanish rap, caso el primero. Cause when I rock the mic, it doesn't matter what you're saying, son. You wanna battle me and see who's last standing when the slaying's done. Finish you, not me. I just begun like the millennium. And even though I've been doing this since 92, way back when the first single was BMW, you thought that I was through. Now on video but two, an album with the group. Now he's going solo. So props to all of those who supported me then. And all those haters that try to offend or even pretend that they can get live like us. And time after time, MCs get bossed.
Boy, I jealous ones who still wanna hate. But my, when you see my face, cruise shall come in, cruise shall fade. But my clique never failed to get it made. Boy, I jealous ones who still wanna hate. Mad cause I get it done and stay paid. Cruise shall come in, cruise shall fade. But HSG never failed to get it made.
Yo, find himself and hides up in a in glory. Then we decide big life man fi seek it. When no more I fi be all up in poverty. So what is mine you are right now we want it. You can observe say a star grudge way. In them eyes where we see it like envy. And if them catch me I know them destroy me. A long time we know them want fi sabotage.
I captured the stash of a master before I could edit subtract words. Before I could crawl to walk I was already on my third verse. Leaving you vexed and cursed with my presence alone. I'm a verbal cyclone, pre-order your tombstone. Think about it, what would you want it to say? Your real name or your AKA? Your date of birth until the day that you got slayed. Even at your weight, your track still won't get played. My brain travels awesome distances beyond a quantum physicist. Call out your name like God save Elizabeth. Pure physicness, I can dare in the business while you witness this 10 years experience.
Boy, I jealous ones who still wanna hate.
Let them know.
When you see my face,
you hear that?
You shall